Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. It's always a thrill to have you here, because today we're wading into the kind of whisper that keeps timelines buzzing and comment sections humming. The question that has stirred curiosity for ages now takes center stage once again: is Hazal jealous of Çağatay Ulusoy? What's the truth behind those murmurs that seem to flare up every time a new project drops, a candid photo pops up, or a red carpet smile lasts one heartbeat too long? Settle in, because we're peeling back the layers with heart and nuance, and we might even surprise you along the way. Whenever we talk about a duo as magnetic as Çağatay Ulusoy and Hazal, the conversation never stays on the surface. From the moment they met on the set of Adini Feri Hakoydum, their synergy was impossible to ignore. The electricity they generated on screen didn't just sell a story, it built a legend. Fans didn't merely watch them, they felt them. And when a pair captures a country's imagination like that, the line between fiction and reality blurs in the most tantalizing way. Over time, what began as a professional partnership evolved into a bond that has proven remarkably resilient, even as their careers took them onto different stages and into different worlds. Their connection shows up in the small, unguarded things. A congratulatory message that arrives at just the right moment. A glance in a backstage corridor that isn't meant for the camera, but finds it anyway. A single sentence in an interview where the tone does more talking than the words. All it takes is one of these breadcrumbs and the fandom builds a feast. And at the center of it all, the rumor that never seems to fade: is Hazal the type to feel a twist of jealousy when the spotlight lands on Çağatay and a co-star, or when a comment sends the gossip cycle into overdrive? To unpack this properly, we need to talk about jealousy itself. It's so often painted as a red flag, a sign of fragility or a crack in the foundation. But in real life, in the messy, beautiful arena where emotions refuse to obey perfect logic, jealousy can also be a flare of care. It can be the shiver that says, this matters to me, this bond is precious, and I don't want to lose it. The question isn't whether such feelings might exist. Who among us hasn't felt that pang? The question is how they are handled, especially under a spotlight that never switches off. Let's look at where these whispers begin. The origin story is familiar and irresistible: two rising stars, a drama that becomes a cultural moment, a screen romance that people carry in their hearts as if it were their own. From there, the script practically writes itself. A new series premieres. A teaser shows a charged moment between Çağatay and a fellow lead. A behind-the-scenes video captures laughter on set, a playful push, a shared coffee that looks far too warm for some viewers' comfort. In a matter of hours, speculation goes from simmer to boil. One frame is enough to launch a week's worth of theories. Now flip the lens. Hazal steps onto a set with a charismatic partner, and the chemistry crackles with the same intensity that made the world fall for her in the first place. She attends a festival, an old friend leans in close for a photo, and by morning there's a dozen think pieces treating that lean as a declaration. These are the seeds from which jealousy rumors grow. Fragments strung together by strangers, feelings projected onto people they only know through the glow of a screen. It's not malicious so much as it is the power of story. But stories can steer us away from reality if we're not careful. What have Çağatay and Hazal actually given us to go on? More than you might think, and less than gossips might hope. In interview after interview, they've drawn a map of boundaries and respect. Hazal has talked about values. About how trust is not a caption but a daily practice. She guards her private world with a steadiness that isn't cold. It's protective, like someone shielding a flame from the wind. Çağatay, famously measured, sidesteps the bait and chooses understatement, but there's a consistency to his calm. He doesn't feed fires that thrive on oxygen. Together, their public stance forms a kind of pact: let the work speak loudly, and let the quiet parts stay quiet. Still, rumors do what rumors do. Picture this: Çağatay is filming a romantic scene that needs to feel alive, not acted. The set is humming, the director calls for one more take. Off camera, there's natural camaraderie, the sort that keeps long days bearable. A photographer's shutter catches a smile half-turned, a hand resting on a shoulder for balance. The photo rushes out without context, and context is everything. In the echo chamber, that single image begins to act like proof of something it never intended to claim. Meanwhile, Hazal posts a photo from her own set, eyes lit with the satisfaction that comes from nailing a scene, and an old colleague drops into the comments with a string of praise. Suddenly, threads tie the two moments together, as if admiration were a map with a hidden route. And here's the heart of it: if Hazal has ever felt a quick sting in those moments, it would make her human, not guilty. But what counts is the pattern across years, not the flicker of a single day. The pattern we can actually see is made of mutual support. When one of them takes a professional leap, the other is there in subtle ways, quiet applause that doesn't need a press release. An early screening, a thoughtful message, a shared inside joke that slips past the public like a bird through the trees. On a timeline where noise often triumphs, their signal is strangely steady. Still, we should address the other side, because it's where the story gets its fuel. Some fans treat every micro-gesture like a cipher to be cracked: a liked post, a delayed like, an unliked post, a story reposted at midnight instead of noon. In that code, a single social media heartbeat becomes proof of a private storm. Add the press, eager to bottle lightning, and the headline writes itself. This is how a myth grows legs. But myths don't thrive forever when reality won't bend in their favor. With Hazal and Çağatay, the narrative keeps looping back to the same refrain. There is trust here, there is care here, and there are boundaries shaped by experience. Over the years, both of them have faced not just admiration but scrutiny. They've navigated intense roles, sudden fame, and the kind of public gaze that leaves very little room to breathe. That they continue to manage this with grace is not an accident. It's a choice, and it shows. You can see it in Hazal's composure when she's asked pointed questions. Her answers land without defensiveness, because they are anchored. You can sense it in the way Çağatay deflects what doesn't matter, remaining focused on stories he wants to tell rather than stories told about him. This is the real context the rumors often refuse to include. It's also crucial to draw a clean line between everyday jealousy and the darker territory of possessiveness. The first can be a passing cloud that leaves no mark. The second is a storm that erodes trust. There is nothing in the public record, no repeated rift, no pattern of public jabs, no visible cycle of tension, to suggest that possessiveness plays a role here. Instead, the through line is professional pride and mutual regard, punctuated by moments of warmth that fans remember for years. We could talk about those moments forever. The nostalgic callbacks to a Dini Fairy Hakoitum that pop up around anniversaries. The way a city feels when they're in the same frame again, even if just for a panel, a photo call, or a festival greeting. The camera loves continuity, and theirs is a continuity born of craft and a shared history that neither of them disowns. Every time they stand near each other, the past hums like a quiet chorus. That hum is enough to set certain imaginations alight, and it's no wonder the jealousy question resurfaces like a familiar tune on the radio. But let's be honest. The myth of a jealous Hazal says more about the audience than about her. In a world where strong, articulate women are often mislabeled for having opinions, protectiveness over one's boundaries gets misread as insecurity. In truth, what we've seen from Hazal is clarity. She doesn't perform closeness for cameras, and she doesn't broadcast every private note. That choice can frustrate a culture trained to equate visibility with authenticity. Yet it's precisely how adult trust works. Quietly, deliberately, away from the noise. And what about Çağatay? The rumor mill likes to imagine him as the spark that could ignite jealous sparks in anyone. But if you watch closely, his pattern is restraint. He invests his heat in the roles, not in the off-screen narratives. It's telling that when a storyline calls for intensity, he brings it without apology. When the set wraps, he steps back. That dance, fire on screen, cool air off it, makes for great television and remarkably boring scandal. Boring, of course, is a tabloid's worst enemy, which is why the jealousy angle keeps getting recycled like a headline that refuses to retire. Let's play out a hypothetical the rumor mill loves. Imagine a new prestige series drops. The trailer crackles. The first episode trends. A behind-the-scenes clip shows Çağatay coaching a co-star through a difficult beat, hand on a mark, voice low, that focused intensity trained only on making the scene sing. Meanwhile, Hazal posts a celebratory dinner photo with colleagues from her own set, laughter mid-flight, a candle glowing in the center. Two separate worlds, two separate nights. The internet stitches them together with invisible thread and calls it a triangle. But triangles are shapes we invent when we want angles more than truth. In reality, what we often have are lines that run parallel, intersecting at chosen points: respect, history, craft. If there's a truth worth holding on to, it's that longevity in this industry rarely happens by accident. Bonds that endure do so because the people involved keep choosing them, quietly, repeatedly, even when no one is watching. The snapshots we get are incomplete, but they add up to a portrait if you don't insist on coloring outside the lines. In that portrait, the jealousy label looks faint and misplaced, a scratch that doesn't match the picture beneath it. So is Hazal jealous of Çağatay Ulusoy? The most honest answer is the least dramatic one. If jealousy ever flickers, it's a human moment that passes like weather. The story their actions keep telling is steadier. Trust where it matters, admiration that doesn't need to be loud to be real, and a shared past that neither exploits nor denies. Fans can love a mystery and still respect a boundary. We can revel in their chemistry and accept that not every spark wants to set a room on fire. As always, you are part of this story, too. The way you watch, the way you read, the way you interpret, that shapes the narrative more than any single photo ever could. If you care about them, let that care look like patience. Let it look like celebrating the work without demanding a confession. Support the projects, remember the moments that made you fall for them, and resist the urge to turn every shadow into a sign. Thank you for spending this time with us on Turkish Spotlight Secrets. If this deep dive stirred old memories or made you see familiar rumors in a new light, tell us how. Do you sense jealousy in a glance, or do you think we're seeing projections dressed up as proof? What clues do you trust, and which ones feel like smoke without fire? Your voice keeps this conversation alive, so share your thoughts below. And if you're new here, stay with us. There's always another story waiting in the wings, another mystery to untangle, another moment when the camera catches more than it intends. Until the next episode, keep your hearts open, your eyes sharp, and your love for the craft louder than the noise.